Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Mesified server. We are high up in the sky. Check out the Mumbo Jumbro drone. The Mun drone? I forget. The Olicopter, that's the one. It's the Olicopter behind me and below me. A witch farm, yes, which we're going to work on in this video. A little bit of F5 flying for you. Let's make sure we can see where we're going. This witch farm is not finished. As many of you might have guessed, we are collecting the drops, but we are not doing too much with them after that point. In fact, let's just have a check on this thing. Everything seems to be in working order, right? Yep, we can even see some witches getting shot off the platforms. That is fantastic. This thing has been running amazingly. Let's also get F1 off. I've been standing up there in the sky for hours on end and getting a lot of drops from this farm. I'm really impressed with the rates. I think Nembom has made a terrific design right here. Let's drop down and use our wings. There we go. Get down the ladder a little bit quicker. And if we go all the way to the bottom, you will see chest upon chest, upon chest, upon chest, upon chest, upon chest. Oh, too high. And you may notice that from down the bottom here, some glowstone has gone as well. That's because I've been pinching it. But this is resources upon resources. And heading over here, I was preparing all of the things that we'd need, you know, our different redstone things. And it amused me because I was thinking, oh, make sure you bring some redstone wire. Hey, wait a minute, we're coming to a witch farm. So then I was thinking, well, make sure you bring some wood so you can craft some torches. We got all the sticks we need over here. What am I talking about? So we got all the supplies that we need. I brought a lot of cobble with me as well, by the way. That's to make droppers. And it kind of occurred to me we're going to do a lot of digging, so we would probably get the cobble back from the digging anyway. But here is the plan. We've got this area here where they drop down, and apparently leaving a gap there will provide some waste. Good to know. We'll make sure that's closed off properly. Hi! Yes, the farm will now be working, I guess, that we're down here. Better to AFK from up in the sky, though. Wow, and the dynamic lighting. You can see them fall down. Very cool stuff. So, the original plan was actually to create some sort of minecart loading system and send the items like off to the Logfellas headquarters. Yeah, that was the plan. And we made this tunnel during a live stream, and it took me a long time to get there. I was lighting up caves as I went. And I've since thought, do you know what, that's sort of a terrible idea. I don't think that's the way we want to deal with these items. I think what we want to do is pick them up when we choose to come over to the witch farm, because we can get to it ever so easily from the nether. So let's head back up to the surface and I'll show you what it is I've got in mind. Alright, so this spot right here is where we're going to bring the items all the way up to the top. So the witches land down at the bottom, their items fall into hoppers, and then we're going to distribute those hoppers into item elevators. There's going to be 3 in total because there's potentially a large amount of items coming up. So what we've got to do first of all is just clear out the water up here, but I've sort of left 3 blocks in so you can see the spacing. Now this is deliberate because I want this bit right here to have enough space around it for a 3x3 section like this, because when 1.1 comes out, it means that we can actually replace the item elevators we're going to build with like see-through ones made out of glass, you know, have the items rise up through, you know, the blocks, which you can actually do in this update, but I really just don't like the way that you go about doing it. It seems a little bit unreliable and stuff. So we're going to do some redstone dropper elevators, some silent ones, the ones that I've been using a lot this season on Hermitcraft. But this time when we build them, they're going to be ginormous because they're going to stretch all the way up into the sky from all the way down below. I think each one of these will take up 2 stacks of droppers each, and then that means about another 2 stacks of torches as well. It is going to be pretty crazy and ambitious, and it starts off with us digging out the space to bring these up. So always a good idea to double check. So we've got these 3x3 pits here, and that's all the space that we need to put in our dropper item elevator. It does mean that the droppers would be at the front, whereas the other design we'd be sending the items up through the middle. That doesn't really matter, it just means I don't actually need to clear out all of this extra space around the outside. So we don't want to do more work than we need to. Anyway, what we need to do now is dig these 3 pits here all the way down to the bottom of the witch farm. Okay, that's that job done. Didn't take too long at all. And now what we've got to do is clear out some more space down the bottom because we need to bring the items over here and then do all of the redstone magic. By the way, there are also some caves up there. You can probably just about see some like edges where they were, and you know, lighting those up always helps with the drops. Although not when you're at the AFK spot at the top, you know, it doesn't really make a difference then. It's when you're in these areas that all the other caves being lit, it really helps to keep the rates going, and it seems like it's going pretty good because there are witches falling down as we record. So we got to bring the hoppers over in this direction. Somewhere around here, what I want to do is have like an item dispenser sim. Do you know what, actually, I was going to dispense the items into water streams and then run them around, but the thing is, it will be throttled by the speed of the items coming into these hoppers, right? So what I should probably do is actually just link the hoppers directly into the item elevators. That makes sense to me. It'll probably make sense to you when I actually build it and show you it. So this is going to be really easy to visualize. This is where the droppers are going to start, and our hopper chain is going to point into the one at the end and come back over the other two. So the hoppers down here will pick up items that flow through here. So that means if loads of items are flowing through, this one will be able to send them upwards, and then if this one gets backed up and full of items, they will then continue moving forward and on to the next one. Now I really don't think we're ever going to need more than 2, but 3 looks cool, so we've gone and done that. And originally what my idea was to do was the same thing except with a water stream, right? So the items are in a water stream and they're heading over there. And I just had another interesting idea, actually. That would have meant, though, that we would have to dispense the items out of the hoppers over here. That's why it seemed kind of silly to move them out of hoppers and back into them again. But there used to be another method for killing the witches when they fall down, which was to have tripwire to detect them coming down, and then you would have like blocks that get pushed out above a water stream, and the witches would land on top of them. And that sounds like a really cool idea, actually, and maybe something we could do when we upgrade these item elevators in the future. Maybe try an old system on this witch farm. But for now, we're just going to stick with the hoppers, because our aim here is to get the drops so that we can start making use of them, you know, get them nice and accessible so we can make use of all that redstone and glowstone. Alright, we are done here. I have used 7 stacks in total, and we've got a little bit left over here, which is cool. And I also spent some time waiting around for a tiny bit of glass to smelt, and then realised I wasn't really ready to place that yet, because somewhere over here we will have a platform made out of glass for the player to stand on. But this is the same height as the portal, and somewhere just around here, I do believe, is directly above the area outside where the witches spawn. So if we have solid blocks here, it means it's not going to interfere with the spawn rates, right? But if we were to put some blocks over in this space in front of me, then it would slow them down. So the portal will be here, you won't be able to walk in that direction, and then we'll have a glass platform leading forward over to where these droppers are. So I think that height is good, although I might go 1 or 2 blocks up higher, because we're going to take the items out and then we're going to run them through a filter system and then have a little storage area here. So the higher it is, the more chests we can have, right? But before we do any of that, we need to finish the item elevators, and it turns out we actually need a little bit more space. These things are 4 wide. Don't know why I had it in my head that it would be 3 wide. And anyway, I've got a new design to show you right here. This is pretty much the same concept we've been doing throughout the series, so if you've seen me build one of these before, it should look familiar. However, if you wire it up like this without a repeater, supposedly it is a little bit faster. And a chap called Cyborg, I think it's 4219, he's the guy who designed our storage system on the previous world. He sent me this world full of useful different ways to do storage systems and item elevators and stuff, and it was something I noticed in there that one of these was actually supposedly a slightly faster design. So hopefully that'll help us with what we're doing here. And I believe this thing is probably already broken because there are items in at the bottom, and one of the things I was supposed to do was clear them out before we started building this. But anyway, I'm going to make all of this stuff out of andesite going all the way up to the top. This is all I have, so I need to go pick up some more. But we got loads of torches. Those are obviously going to be easy to craft, as they are made out of the 2 things that drop from the witches. And I'm missing something here. Yes I am. And I'm actually going to dig my way back a little bit here, just because I've made this mistake before. It's a real pain. If you forget to put the torches in on that side, they're a bit of a fuss to go back and put in again. Anyway, we just got to do this going all the way up there into the sky, and then do it 2 more times as well. So let's just pop down below. And what we really need to do is like lock the hopper here. In fact, let's put that on the other side so it just sends the items round the corner. In fact, no, let's put it there as well. So it locks all of these hoppers and the items can just back up in these ones. Because right now we've got some in here, and what they're going to do is send the items up. There you go, and we'll have items stuck in the dropper elevator. So that means on my way up I've now got to go and check all of these droppers, or at least the ones where the torches are. Making more work for myself. So this is a little bit on the insane side. Look how high these things come up. This is an intense amount of redstone right here. And luckily for us, these are usually very reliable in my experience, so I'm pretty confident they'll bring the items all the way up. However, if they don't, with this many torches and this game being like it is, I wouldn't be too surprised. Do you know what would be a good idea? Just putting a couple of torches up here. Yeah, in case some mobs spawn. Anyway, the next step is to build an item filter up here. It's going to be a basic item sorting system. We're going to have some hoppers up the top here when I decide how high this thing is going to go. It will go across and then over and then back across this way again like a U shape. And then we'll have some item filters and it will drop the items down into the chest for us to walk up to and collect them from. Alright, new location for the portal, and we're probably going to do away with this little tower that comes up here. If you fall down to the bottom, tough luck, you'll have to use Mumbo's portal over there, which with an ender pearl doesn't take too long to get to, and then you can just use the nether to get back up here again. So this will work out just fine, I reckon. And this is the storage that we're going to have. It is considerably larger than I thought it was going to be to begin with. There are, I believe, 7 different types of items that we are sorting out here. And we're going to double the amount of chests that each of them have. And I realise that's kind of ridiculous, because what we could have done is gone higher to add more storage space, but I've decided we're going to have 2 item filters for each of these, which is kind of silly. And then we got 1 extra that's going to have all the items that flow over. And what we'll also do is have the hopper chain flow out a little bit further and go to an item disposer. So if ever all of these chests fill up, including the overflow at the ends, then it will start destroying items. And I do not have a lot of brown clay, however I might be able to help Iskau out. I'll speak to him in a second. But yeah, this is going to be the layout right here. So now I've got to decide like how high do I want to stack these chests. I brought some wood with me, but I'm probably going to need some more to make all of these chests. So Iskau needs some brown clay and some hardened clay, and we got an ICC for him, an Iskau care package. I'll let him know that it's here. Loads of this stuff left over from the log farm, because we did so much digging down in that area in the log fella's secret headquarters. Don't tell anyone how to get there, by the way. Don't tell them about this little drop down. Yeah, look at all this space that we've dug out. So there's just chests of the stuff lying around, basically. And after a couple of trips back and forth, I realised that I need to come down here to get some more wood for our chests. Typical. I swear, like 90% of this game is travelling around to pick up things that you keep forgetting about. Oh dearie me, I've built the entire thing off by 1 block. Not sure how I did that, thought I double triple checked. All of this just needs to be pushed over a block, because otherwise there's 1 more block to go there. It's going to have redstone on, and then it's going to, you know, manipulate the power of these droppers, which is a bad thing. Also just want to say, look at the crazy amount of hoppers we're using right here. Okay. Where does the item filter bit go? It's this one right here, right? Yeah, it's got to be, because that's where the comparator is. Cool. For a second there, I thought that we might end up having to remove some of these hoppers to access the ones down below. No, we are all good. And at the end here, what we're going to do is put a dropper here and a hopper facing into it, because that's going to be like the last one that's going to fill up those. And then we're just going to have our hoppers come across the top like this. So this is the height that these droppers need to go to, which is 1 block further up. And I'm not sure if that torch there is therefore going to power that dropper, but I will do a test and find out. So they'll go up by 1, then this thing is going to go down to the end there, it's going to come across and then go back across where these droppers up. So they're going to fire into the hoppers, and the hoppers will lead it through our item filter. Look at this, it is working, and just watching those lights come up like that, the redstone torches, is so cool. And this thing works perfectly. By the way, we didn't actually need to raise it up a block. And the items have all made their way over here. And that was how many I put in. 32 in total. And it stopped. And all the lights have stopped blinking. Excellent. It has worked perfectly. So the item filter has been installed, which means this thing is almost done. When I remove the redstone that's locking the hoppers down the bottom, the drops from the witch farm will make their way all the way up here to the top. And I'm about to do something which I know some of you are going to leave comments about and tell me I'm wrong. I'm going to place furnaces on top of these hoppers to reduce lag. Now, a certain someone, Mr. Efo, did a test on this, and unfortunately the way he did his test wasn't actually going to show you the lag that this causes. People have looked into the game code, they figured it out. Putting furnaces on top of hoppers will reduce lag when you're on a server. And there's actually a really great video that I can share with you showing you a great demonstration of this in action. It's made by my friends over at Accidental Games, although I do believe it was Sparks who was behind this video. And yeah, I'll put a link to it in the description box. So if you think that this doesn't make a difference, go watch that video. It'll explain it all and you can see an example of how it makes a difference. We've got to do a little bit more down the bottom as well. I wonder if we can throw our ender pearl straight down like that. You see, look, if I turn to the side a little bit, it'll end up going to the side. If I use F3 and we try and get that minus 180, that's about as close as we're going to get. Let's see how far down we go. Perfect, all the way down to the bottom, fine by me. So down here as well, we're also going to put furnaces on those hoppers and all these other hoppers. And that'll go all the way through here. And then we're kind of done with this project. It's just somewhere up to here where we need to block that off. So yes, right there we'll put a block on top of it so all of that is sealed off. And then this thing I think is pretty much done, right? Here we go, 2 sets of items are travelling up and something has just crossed my mind. That is that we still have a whole bunch of chests back here full of items that won't end up in this system. So what I will probably do I have any chests on me? I don't, but we will break these chests. I'll also just break some of the furnaces that I put on here. And if we put the chests like side by side on the hoppers, or we space them out a little bit because chests can't be placed side by side, then they'll just eventually and slowly feed through into the hoppers. And that way we can move all of these items into the storage system up top as well. That's a lot of items. It's kind of a little bit hypnotic to look at as well. Reminds me of like screensavers from back in the day on Windows. Just some like pointless little animation. Okay, the last of items have been put in place. I'll have to come down here and remove all of this later on and replace it with furnaces. But something has just crossed my mind. Is it going to use all 3 of them? Oh, I am not surprised. I am not surprised at all. The one at the end isn't being used, and this isn't because of some error. It's the speed at which these go through. 2 of them will match the speed of the hopper, right? So this one might actually run a little bit slower than that one. I'm sure that makes sense. There'll never be enough, you know, items to come through because these 2 can pick them up as fast as the hoppers can transfer them. Yes, that made sense, didn't it? So even though we've got all of those chests loaded up here, it's only ever going to use 2 of them. I feel so silly right now. Either way, I mean, it looks cool, which is a good thing. How do I get out of here? I've got to go back this way. If this were a live stream right now, there would be some serious dirt faces for that. I mean, building 3 of these massive towers and we only need 2. Another thing I should mention is I actually made this entire thing a little bit too big. I don't know how I miscounted that, but I've trimmed, you know, one of the filters off of the side. And actually, should be able to see... Okay, they're going to go into the top chest for nothing. No redstone has come through yet. I guess that could have happened if I hadn't put some in straight away. There we go. They're my items from like working up in this area. I'm seeing nothing in any of these chests. It is slightly alarming, to be fair. What have I done wrong here? None of our items are appearing up here at the top. What is going on? I've spotted the problem. When I was trimming this thing down because I had made it too big, I didn't place that hopper correctly, and now we've got trouble. But luckily I can actually sit up here and fix this myself, which isn't a big issue. So we should grab the items that fall out of here. I mean, even if some items fall and go past me, we're talking about stuff that is now completely disposable. So when we place that there, they should run around into the item filters. And while I remember, we need some lights up here because there are little spots where mobs might want to spawn, like on top of the furnaces. So we will put in a few bits of glowstone here and there as well. And then that means this is all nicely lit up as well. So that's it for this project. I think there is a little bit of tidying up to be done, but everything here is done. The items will come all the way up to the top, which is fantastic. And we have like one more thing to do this episode as well, kind of related to this project. We're going to pop into the Nether and work on the portals the other side of the one that we've got up here. So this part of the Nether is notoriously bad for just being a danger zone. You've got blazes down there, ghasts like to spawn and shoot at you. And I don't know what's going on with Mumbo and his portals. The other day I came over here and I placed these slabs because there was just this big gap between where you used to walk across to this one and back again. and then there's all just these random bits of netherrack. Basically, it needs a tidy up, and I spoke to Mumbo. He didn't seem too bothered about me being over here with a portal and doing this area up. So I want to speak to him again just to make sure he's cool with that. What I was thinking we could do for right now is just protect the area. So if ever we do decide to build something over here, it'd be nice to have a cobblestone box around it to protect the area in case you want to use any materials that gas can blow up. And I figured, you know, all projects are going to start with something like that, right? So what we could do is start building that cobblestone box. Now, I've only got granite on me, but we will start, you know, lower than this bit, because this is probably going to end up being the height of your floor. We can box in cobble at this height right here. We can go out a little bit further than when the portal is there, so we'll come all the way out. We'll go up and over, and we'll go all the way back across over to somewhere up there, just where this netherrack is, because then we can make this tunnel right here. This was made by Impulse and Tango, I do believe. We can make that a little bit safer as well. So kind of killing a few birds with one stone, or or stacks upon stacks of cobblestone, depending on how you want to look at it. So let's go take a look. There you go, nice and safe. Isn't that so much better? And some of you will probably point it out that ghast can spawn in here. So let's throw down a few of these all over the place. Hopefully that'll prevent it. But it's probably quite unlikely one will actually spawn in here. Now that I've said it, it will happen. You'll see it on someone's video. Anyway, something I want to say about this area is that it looks ugly now, and we're going to do the aesthetics here another time. I did want to speak to Mumbo as well about that, and that's one of the things I've sort of held back from doing this episode, because if we go through the portal, all of this area needs doing up as well. Now, you could say this is finished because it's functional, but I always like to make things look pretty as well. So we've got some dirt down the bottom there that probably needs to go. And up the top here, this area could do with like being encased and having something interesting to look at. And I was about to say let's have a look in these chests, but because I've been in the nether the whole side, this hasn't been loaded, so it wouldn't have all been sent up yet. And are our item elevators running? They are, that's a good sign. This is new right here. This wasn't here before. X to the Z Dog, Logfellas profits for the week. Excellent, from Rendog. Check it out, we got ourselves some more diamonds, some bling blings. Let's throw them around and celebrate, because that's the end of the episode. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. As always, thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao for now, bye bye.